Well, we're at 5 past and we're going to get started here. So I am here with Alexis Bellis, the head of marketing at Backyard ADUs, and we are in Brunswick, Maine at our newest small home and our first 1.5 story. And tonight we're going to go through, we're going to give you a tour. We're going to do Q&A, and we're going to talk about some of the things that are really unique about this house, because it is rather different when it comes to what people think of when we think of prefab and modular. There's a lot of innovations that we worked on with our factory partner, and as you'll see, we think it's gorgeous. So for the evening, Alexis is going to be keeping an eye on questions. If you can put them in the comments in Zoom, we'll just stop as you ask. I'll just stop what I'm talking about and ask your questions, so it's a nice back and forth. And as we walk around, we can kind of do questions about a specific room, about specific features. This house has a full basement, so we're going to go down in the basement so we can talk about what's going on down there. If you are watching on Facebook, we are not watching the Facebook Live comments as closely as the Zoom comments, but if you want to join the Zoom live stream, the webinar, you can do so just by going to the event on Facebook, clicking in and grabbing the Zoom link from Eventbrite. Okay. So as I said, we are in our 1.5 story house, and we're calling this the Demona. I don't know why we're calling it the Demona, but we had to give it a name. And this is a 1,200 square foot story-and-a-half house. And it's 2 bedrooms, kitchen and living room, 2 full bathrooms, and we're sitting on top of a full basement. So this is the largest house we built, but it's still less than half of the average size home built in America. The average size home built is 2,700 square feet. And as you will see, this house is going to feel huge. It's probably going to take us a little while to walk around and show everyone everything, and answer questions. But let's start. I'll show you the front door, and we'll kind of walk through it as if someone would be coming in. All right. So I'll pretend I just walked in. So this is the front door. It's pitch dark outside, so you can't really see what's going on. But with a lot of our homes, we try to integrate outdoor space. And in this case, we've got a patio that kind of acts as a place to welcome people as they come in. And in this case, also connects the kitchen and the entrance in a really nice way. And the walking in here, very important. Big coat closet, because here in New England, you're gonna need to just keep stuff in an area and not bring it into the main living space. Because when you're living small and there's a small footprint, dirt and stuff builds up quickly. And it kind of creates a zone for you to transition from being outside to being in the inside. You can see, took our sweatshirt off earlier because it's quite warm in here. And some of the things you see, we've got a little bit of stuff left to do, but a bifold door, which is important because it allows us to preserve space when you come in. A big swing door on here is going to get in the way and interfere with this. And there's tons of space in there. You can probably hang 30 jackets in that closet, and also a lot of place to kick shoes off. So coming through this way, in the terms of the flow, we walk right in, and you come right into the big open living room space, the heart of the home. And you've got options of where to go. And the important thing that we're thinking about when we design small homes, is really thinking through flows of traffic. And as you can see, we just walked in the front house. We're thinking about what we're going to do. We could immediately come over here where a full 7-foot couch can sit. We could sit and relax. We could come right over here. If we didn't want to do, we could drop groceries on the island. This is where the fridge is going to go. So there's this nice clean way to get in here. And of course, you can go and sit and drop off anything that you have at a space where a little kitchen dining table would go. which this is enough space for a traditional 4-foot wide table and a chair on either side, and space out in front where it can actually fold out and you can fit a more traditional sized dining table if you do have entertaining or around the holidays. So I guess while I'm in the kitchen, I'll talk a little bit more what we do, what's going on in here. So this is a small kitchen. It's not a kitchen that you see in a big full-size house, but it's an extremely functional kitchen. So this is something that we'll actually be prepping on. It's a butcher block. It's treated with mineral oil. And we've got the stove location right behind. So you can see somebody in here prepping dinner, pivoting to the stove, pivoting to the fridge. And more important than their ability to do that is nobody is going to be able to come and interrupt them. Any parents, out there, or anyone who's prepping for holidays, you've got to create a space that only the chef can be in. And that's also important when you're in a small home. If you just have an open kitchen like this, oh yeah, this moves. Well, if you're trying to prep in here, you're just going to be constantly running into people. But with something like this, you can block it off and create your custom space. Just like that. And the other neat thing about this rolling butcher block island, this is what's key for giving you space to entertain. So after you're done prepping, you can pull this right out of the way, and now you can have a full-size table in here. And it's important, we don't often do a lot of these movable spaces because they don't really get used. When you have too many finicky things, they just get in the way and they get forgotten about. But in this case, we really like this. And it's very, very simple to do. While I'm in here, we are putting a backsplash in. We're hoping to get that done tomorrow. But I will preview what that is. That will be going on the wall, full surround. It'll be grouted with white grout. So we're pretty excited to get that in. And another note in this kitchen, this is going to be an 18-inch dishwasher. And we did that specifically because going to a 24 would have made the space for the dining table a little bit too tight. So we traded a full-size dishwasher because this is a house that's probably going to be lived in by 2 or 3 people. You don't need a full-size dishwasher, and preserve the ability to sit where you have breakfast. Does anyone have any questions before we continue to kind of move through the house? Anything about the kitchen, about changes, anything that people would want to see, how we went about designing it? All right, well, jump in if you have anything. So now we're in the living room, and in the living room, we're kind of open space from the kitchen. Oh, we do have a question. Okay.
Are those closets in front of the door? I do believe they mean right here. Yeah.
Good question, because that is part of the kitchen. So we have a giant pantry right here, and it's still full of tools. But this space is crucial to make that kitchen really function. This can take cleaning products. This can take your canned goods. I mean, anything. This is an enormous amount of storage space. And again, we use these bifold doors because this is a 3-foot hallway. And if we try to do French doors anything bigger, they're just going to get in the way and be very difficult to use.
So someone asked if the butcher block and the tile are like upgrades that people can get, or how that works.
So good question. So this butcher block costs about the same as the quartz countertops. And we try to include quartz countertops as standard in our projects, allowing you to not downgrade, but just reduce the cost and go to laminate and achieve a savings rather than have to decide to get quartz. So this is actually this is from Lowe's. It's a company called Sparrow, and it costs $480. And you get a nice big 6-foot by 3-foot piece. You just put right on top and screwed into the island. And then there's another chunk too. We've got one, if you have that 6 foot piece, this is only a 3.5 foot island. So we've got this nice extra chunk, which is going to make for a couple of really nice cutting boards to replace some of the older ones.
And they were also asking about the built-ins in the living room.
Good question. So yeah, let's move into the living room and stairs. So in small houses, when you're building 2 stories, stairs are really, really difficult to put in and not waste space. You pretty much lose over 100 square feet, if not more, to the stairs. And when you put them in, you've got to make use of them. In this case, we put storage in. Obviously, we put bookcases in. This, I don't know if everyone on the call knows, this is actually going to be my wife and I's house. And we built these as a weekend date project. So we paid for the lumber, and then we paid in time over a couple of weekends. This kind of work would be an upgrade, and we would be partnering with a local craftsman to help put these together. And built-ins like this, for a custom work like this by a finished carpenter, this is probably $4,000 to $6,000 worth of work. And this is whenever you do finished carpentry like this, it adds up quite quickly. But it's gorgeous, and it really makes the house pop. And even with all of this, we're with the benefits we get from doing this prefab and modular, there's room for this, and there's room for doing this in budgets typically.
Where have you allocated space for your TV?
Right behind. So I was kind of pointing out, right here is space for a full-size couch. Right here is space for a full-size armchair. And the TV is from right on this wall. And what we recommend doing is probably a full-size entertainment center, some kind of piece of furniture that has a 32-inch high shelf with cabinets underneath, and possibly more bookcases. And then that would frame in either a wall-mounted TV or a TV just sitting right on that. And then off of the TV room, really neat, we framed in a window seat. So the couch can be here. Someone could be enjoying whatever they're doing there, maybe playing video games with headphones on. We don't really play video games, maybe just watching TV. And someone could be sitting right here and sitting in this window seat. And that will get a cushion and be really cozy. And you can't see it now, but that window looks right out into the treetops, where out behind this house, it drops off about a 15, 20-foot ledge. And just look at the trees, kind of treehouse-esque. And this window, which is the other window you'd be looking at, looks out at a little bit longer field view. And then down underneath, there'll be drawers going in, big, deep drawers to hold blankets, probably for a couch or games, or probably it's just going to be 16 inches deep of crap that we have to sort through.
Is this a passive house?
So this is not passive. We have done a lot of we've done a lot of work trying to figure out how energy efficient we need to be for it to, and we've looked at that alongside diminishing marginal returns. And what we found in a small house going all the way to passive ends up being somewhat unnecessary, at least from an energy use standpoint. So with solar panels and the efficient heat pumps and the amount of insulation and air sealing that we're doing, we can get this to net zero, which is where we're trying to hit. But to go to passive, it gets to a whole nother level. So it's not passive, but it is net zero ready, and we'll be adding solar to this, and we'll be tracking it to see how we do. So I'll walk this way. So again, we're coming through the living room. We have a little passageway here. Walking out into here, we've got a downstairs full bath, or a three-quarter, what would we call this? A three-quarters bath with a shower. And this is just as tight as you can get it. And this is one of those things where the shower was to some degree put in for resale value and to appease appraisers, which we absolutely hate doing. But going from 1-bath to 2-bath makes a big difference if you're trying to get bank financing and making sure you're going to hit the appraisal that you need. It is somewhat useful though, because if you have guests over, they're staying in here, they can have their own bathroom. They're not going to have to traipse upstairs to take a shower. And this is basically designed for a Murphy bed could fit between here, a double Murphy bed, fold down, fold up, and be there for guests, and then act as an office when people aren't staying here. And if we spin around, you can see there's just all of these nice big windows which keep it open. So if you put a desk right in front of this window, you're looking straight out, again, out of the field and trees, or you're looking out that way at the street. And we do have, to make this an actual bedroom, you do have to put a closet in here. And again, we paired that closet with space where you could put one of these Murphy beds in.
There's lots of love for the Murphy bed office combo.
Murphy beds are neat. And you can get them right on Wayfair or order them online. They typically cost, we've looked at them, and you can get one for between $1,500 and $2,000, which is kind of steep. It's a little bit, it's certainly not, it's not cheap, but it does allow you to use space quite well. Okay. I guess the other thing I'll point out while we're down here, you might be seeing all these floor vents in here. This is heated and cooled with, this is ducted mini splits. And we've got, we use an LG heat pump in here to do that. And the ducted system it does a great job of distributing the hot or cold air throughout the house. You don't get hot spots, and you don't have to find spaces on the walls for the heads.
What type of windows did you use?
So these windows are, and for the person, as I'm describing this, is one of the reasons we're not passive, is because our windows aren't good enough. But these are Harvey slim lines. It's a mid-grade window. It's a window that I'm very happy with. We're very happy with, but it's not like a triple pane. This is one area, like if we were to analyze this house and figure out why are we at 1.9 air exchanges per hour versus 0.6 to get us to passive, the windows are one of them. But to go to a window that allows us to do that, we're talking an extra $400 or $500 per window. So over the course of this house, 15 to 20,000 extra.
Who is your factory partner and where are they located?
So we work with Professional Building Systems out of Middleburg, Pennsylvania. And we worked hard choosing them. We toured lots of factories in Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Maine. We were even talking to a couple factories in Canada, and they've been a great partner for us so far. And they helped us innovate this house. And another thing, we'll talk about the innovations as we go upstairs. But this cathedral high ceiling with this is something that was done at PBS. We had talked about how can we get some varying roof heights, because often when you think modular, you think just 8 feet, fully flat, big open spaces, no differentiation. But to create a really nice home, you've got to have different ceiling heights. So we worked with them to do a 7-foot high wall on this side. So when you're sitting at the table, you feel a little bit more cozy, and then have it open up to make your kitchen feel both cozy, but formal and grand at the same time. Which, to do that on site is it takes a lot of time, but it's something that can be done very easily in the factory. So let's go upstairs. The upstairs is a master suite, and it's stunning. So we're upstairs in the master bedroom bathroom space. So we still have a little bit of work to do up here. We've got these built-ins. Obviously, they're not done. They need to be sanded and painted. It's going to be a project that we're probably going to work on tomorrow or over the weekend. But this we are looking at is one of the things that we work really hard with a factory partner to nail down. is to create something vaulted, to create the, again, cozy and grand at the same time, and do this in the factory. And we're standing in there's a video on our Facebook page, but this whole thing lifts and gets placed on the bottom half, and comes for the most part as you see it. These built-ins were done on site. Again, this is something that would be, we find a local expert carpenter to help do. And it's something, again, my wife and I did this as a weekend long day project. They're not easy to do, but it is something that could be done. And one of the things that we're trying to figure out how to do to allow this to be done a little bit less expensively is we're currently talking to people who have CNC machines tied into CAD programs, which basically means, which would allow them to create IKEA packages, essentially. So they would cut all these sides, pre-drill them, and then the homeowner could do it as a project and just pay IKEA prices, and then have, I don't know, the instruction manual wouldn't be as good as IKEA, but the pieces would be there. It's one of the ways we're trying to make this more affordable, because when we're in these spaces, especially with this gambrel roof line, if you were to just put a regular dresser, so regular dresser is about 32 to 36 inches high. If you're doing one of the long skinny ones, it's going to hit the wall right here, and you're going to lose about 1.5 feet of space, which when we're looking at these drawers, that's 2 drawers in one, which is only possible with the built-in like this. And you get two of them like that. It gets a little bit smaller, and then you've got your sock and underwear drawer. And then, as my wife said, this is like sort of jewelry and makeup is going to go. I don't know what I'll put up there. It'll probably just be receipts. Receipts usually coming, whatever's in my pockets when I come up. So more about up here. That window is a wonderful, it's an eastern facing window. So it'll get you up out of bed nice right away. And it also looks out into the treetops, which is kind of nice. And then all of these skylights are fairly southern facing, which is great for the winter because it keeps it nice and bright up here when the sun is low on the horizon. And then with the insulation and with the low E glass, there is going to be heat gain in the summer, but it's reduced to as much as we can affordably with the proper windows.
We have a question. In the photos of the upstairs on the website, there were exposed beams. Is that a possibility?
It is. So we may still put the beams in here. We basically were just cutting stuff out, so we could call it done. But yes, the beams on the website would go straight across here, and I think there's about 4 that would fit in here. And we did find a supplier for hand-hewn beams in Gardner, Maine, and they have a steady supply of them, so it is something that we could do. And the beams are a nice add-on. There's other imagery on the website of having this be all basically clapboard, knotty pine or shiplap, which can also be done, and that's also an option. And our designer helped us kind of feel through what are the different ways that you can design these upstairs. So it's all possible. And then another thing I'll note while I'm looking at this wall, we did do a mini split head up here because when we're doing the ducted system downstairs, that's one heating and cooling zone. By putting that head up, we can add another zone so we can have the upstairs be a different temperature than downstairs.
We have a question. They love the floor. What kind is it?
So these are engineered hardwood from Shaw. I think this is called Freeform. So if you Google Shaw Freeform, or if you email us info@factory.edu, we'll send you the link. But yeah, they're an engineered hardwood with a 3/8 veneer on top. So they can be sanded several times, and they go in very easily, which is one of the reasons we use them. The wider boards, they look great, but it also makes the install time very quick. This was designed, this is where a bed would go. And as you can see, we designed it so someone from 6 feet tall can walk up all the way to the end, hit their head and get in. This is like a conservative placing. You could push this further back because typically you get into bed 2 feet from the headboard, so right here. So if we push this in, it would give a little bit more space upstairs, but when we did the layout, we figured this was the spot we'd go. And we've got, really neat, on either side of the bed, we put USB outlets, which allow you to not have all of those silly little plugs for your USB charging. And we've got one of these in the kitchen too, which I didn't point out, but these are a nice little new thing to add into homes if you're building new, or you can add them in and switch out regular outlets. So we've got washer dryer space here. These are, I mean, they're mealy, they're nice. These washer dryers are actually counter depth, so they're on the smaller end. But the counter depth washer dryer just allow us to push them further out of the living space and put this wall a little bit further in. A regular washing machine would probably come out, would kind of stick out to here, which again would encroach into the living space, interfere with this door a little bit. And we also we're going to be testing this out. We're not sure how these work, but this is a heat pump dryer, and that's going to be part of the way that we're hoping to achieve net zero in this house. Because in these small homes, again, going to this passive versus net zero thing, the leading driver of costs is actually not the heating and cooling, which is kind of weird. You think heating and cooling is the most expensive thing. The leading costs are the appliances, especially the dryer and the water heating. So we've been looking for ways to drive down the energy use of appliances, the lights, and domestic hot water. And then we can step into the bathroom here. So again, we're in a master suite, and this is designed to be just a couple's space, a nice big bathroom. We will be putting some kind of shade on this, so the neighbors don't get a free show while people are in the bathroom. But it does allow a ton of light, which is great. And as I said, over there is an eastern window. This is a western window. So if you shower and do in the bathroom at night, you're going to get a little bit more light in here, which is kind of nice. And maybe you can watch the sunset. Double vanity. This is a really nice thing to have. Obviously, if you share a sink, if you ever use one, it's a really nice upgrade. And then this shower, we designed this so we could have a skylight right over the top, and with a couple of soap ledges, and then there'll be a sliding glass door that goes in here. And again, this tile work, this is done at our factory partner PBS. They've proven to do really, really solid tile work. And then finally, here we've got a little nook, which will have a piece of furniture, probably open shelves is what I would recommend for storing linens and any other bathroom type items. And
they're the cabinets.
And then these are also openable medicine cabinets as well to keep stuff off the counter. I think that's everything upstairs. So I guess we can go back down. As I'm walking, if anyone thinks of any questions, throw them out there. We're gonna go down to the basement. Okay. Yes, let's go out to the basement. Because this is on a full basement. It's our first full basement.
All right. We have 2 questions.
Oh, okay.
What will go in between the 2 drawers upstairs, like the 2 dressers, is the first one.
All right, that's a great question.
just putting our shoes on, because as you can see, there's not a way to get into the basement from this side of the house, and I'll explain why that is when we get down there. So between the two dressers is going to be clothes hanging space. There's 2 feet, or there's 1.5 feet per person. So 1.5 feet of clothes hanging space for each dresser. Okay.
All right, we're in the basement. Exciting stuff. Well, so the story, I'll explain the story of this basement. So we originally, when we were building this, we're not going to do a basement. We ended up hitting some ledge, and that ledge wasn't the issue that caused the basement. But we had a combination of having to lift the house up a little bit higher to get gravity-fed septic. And when we did that, we got halfway to a full basement, so we decided to go for it.
Oh, you don't have any picture for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Oh, video's back. We're all good.
Video's back.
Yep. We're all good.
All right. So anyone that you can see what I was just talking, we're in the basement. And you're looking at this basement. So all of our projects use Nudura insulated concrete forms.
We have no video again. I'm going to come stand back here, see if that makes any kind of effect.
Oh, what's it doing?
I think that, do we have video again, everybody? Video is fine. Okay.
Are you on the Wi-Fi?
I should be. I am. I think
It should work down here.
I have no idea. I just keep getting, it's on, it's off, it's on.
It should work because it's right there.
Cool.
Huh.
It'll work.
But yeah, so the basement, like this space, we're gonna leave unfinished, but it's great workout space, and it's a great place for storage. And I was saying we weren't originally gonna do this. We're very happy that we did, because as you can see, we're already putting stuff in it, and some of this stuff, like as you can see on the wall, there's skis. We needed a place to store all of our stuff, and we've got this. This is kind of neat. This is going to be an LL Bean boot testing station. So we're going to invite people over here after they go to Freeport to see how good their boots do. But we have another question.
Is there a way to make it so that you can access the basement from inside the house?
Yeah, good question. So we're standing underneath that staircase and the window seat. So yes, you could. The access to the basement in this would be under the stairs going upstairs. So it would be right up against this wall and open right there. The basement in this case was an afterthought. We'd already designed the house. We'd already sent it to the printer, AKA Professional Building Systems. So we couldn't change it. And honestly, I'm not really concerned about that. It's a short walk around the outside, and appreciate the extra storage up there. But you can do that. And the stairs you'd always stack stairs. What else is question?
We had a question about like the overall cost of this house.
So we're still tallying up with all the add-ons because we did, like I said, my wife and I did some extras. But as you're seeing it, we're between 240 and 250,000, and that would include some of that custom built-in work and the stairs, and also the well and the septic and a short driveway. So we try to get as much into that pricing as possible. So, because we don't think it makes any sense just to quote a house that isn't going without thinking about all of the work that has to go in to make it actually livable, like the septic, the well, the driveway, clearing, site work. So yeah, between 240 and 250 with all of that built-in work. And if that's something that you want to take on, that price can probably come down. And as I said, we've got there's a lot of neat little upgrades up there. Other technical stuff, when we're in the basement, in the corner here is our, this is just an expansion tank for the well. Well water's coming in actually under the floor. It's held in there and then gets shot out to the rest of the house. This is the air exchange unit. All of these pipes that you're seeing are the ducted heat pumps, and
if you wanted to do, if you had ideas of doing a finished basement, this would have to be done a little bit more. We'd have to do it up into the ceiling and be a little bit more careful, so you could do that. But if it's just a non-finished space, this is a nice, quick, and easy way to do it. Question?
Is the land included in the cost of the house?
No, it is not. What else do we have down here? I guess that's about it. We've got plumbing that goes out to the septic tank, then off to the leach field. And I think I started to talk about the ICF, which the green is insulated concrete forms, which helps keep this a nice insulated space. Question?
Are we using ERV or HRV air exchange systems?
Oh, good question. I don't think so. This is I'm probably going to misspeak here. Are you referring to air exchange systems that are in a passive house, like the ones that are taking air from the outside, taking it from the inside and circulating it? Or are you asking about, well, this system is the air exchange for the mini split? We
got a yes to the first half.
Gotcha. Okay, so that is not what this is. This is just the air exchange for the mini splits. This is connected to the mini split compressor outside and distributing it throughout the house. This house does not have a full air exchange system like you're referring to. It has a Panasonic Whisper Quiet fan, which is in the bathroom, and it's cycling on and off to remove air from the house and replace it at certain intervals. So that's satisfying the air exchange needs in this house. The systems that you're referring to are really neat, and they could be added to these, and they do a great job of taking some of the heat out of the air that's being expelled from the house. And the thing about them that we really like the most is that it sends clean filtered air back into the house. But quite honestly, the difference between the two we'd have to dig into.
We have another question. Where is the water heater?
The water heater. So it is upstairs behind the double vanity. It's an instant hot water heater, and it's hidden away behind that, and it serves the house. And we did an instant hot water heater because heat pump hot water heaters require 700 cubic feet of airspace. So 700 square feet all the way up. So 700 square feet of basement. When we obviously have that here, this is big enough for a heat pump water heater, but we weren't planning on it. So we did an instant hot water heater. That's one of the biggest challenges we have in making these ultra energy efficient, is that we have yet to find a technology for domestic hot water that works in a small house. And interestingly, we were listening to, there's a group out of British Columbia called the Passive House Accelerator, and they had a segment, and I talked to somebody after it about a solar assisted heat pump that has domestic hot water capability. And that's something we're going to be looking into to see if it would work for these. Looking at the beeping, I don't know if anyone can hear that. The beeping smoke alarm needs a new battery. Okay. Well, let's go back up into the house, out of the basement.
One of the attendees said that there are, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly, split heat pump water heaters, but they're expensive.
They're very expensive. Yeah, we've been looking for one that could potentially provide domestic hot water and heat, because it would knock off two birds with one stone and help control the cost. But it's an area that we're really trying to solve because it would help. We get a light back here.
Yeah. All right. Someone jokingly said, "How much extra is outdoor lighting?"
Priceless. Okay. Well, so that's a tour. Happy to, so if we have more questions, we can dig into more questions. In terms of, this is, I guess, talking a little bit to backyard ADUs, and this is too big to go in most backyards. A lot of local rules for building ADUs restrict them at, it's anywhere between 700 and 900 square feet. So this is a little bit bigger than will be allowed in the backyard, but it's great for building on raw land. And then we're going to be having another one of these probably in 2 weeks to talk about the house next door, which is a 790 square foot house, less expensive and single story that does fit in backyards, which we're actually just finished. We're in the process of finishing a version of that in Florence, Massachusetts right now. And we'll be also doing an open house on that one. In this specific spot, so we built this house and we built the house next door. We're going to be looking to build 3 more in the spring, and we'll be offering those for hopefully build to suit starting in April.
Is the house next door also on the same parcel of land as this house?
So it is right now. We did a 2-part, we're doing a 2-part development process on this one. We wanted to get 2 up, one because we needed a place to live, and we wanted to show these 2. But we'll be dividing this into 5 parcels, 5 1-acre parcels. And each parcel will have a common driveway, which is something that towns really like. They love common driveways because it's minimizing the number of accesses to the street, which plays into ease of plowing and safety. And then DPW just doesn't have to worry about another driveway possibly wrecking the road. Let's see, is there anything else? I don't think so. So I guess that we'll wrap it up. This is recorded on Facebook, and we have the webinar recorded. And we're going to be doing a 360 virtual tour, I believe, on this next week. And then keep an eye out because we've got virtual tours coming for the L-Line 790, a house in Florence, Mass, Whately, Mass. And then we'll do a follow-up on this one when we have furniture in it and it's decorated.
We have one question. So once you split these up into acre sections, will it function as condos?
So not in this case. So these are going to be separately deeded lots. We didn't need to do the condo route on this one, but that is something we are going to be looking potentially to do condoization of a main house and an ADU in North Yarmouth is something we're going to be looking at doing. And we've also been exploring doing that in Northampton as well. The condoization is a really neat way to get more buildings on one lot and try to drive down the cost of ownership, because we're dealing with high costs of construction, but if anyone that's ever looked at land costs is enormous as well.
For sure. Also, just to remind everyone, we are going to be doing a 360-degree tour of this house to go over some more of like the plans and renderings, a little bit more about the building process and design process. That is Tuesday, the 19th, same time, 5:30. Just want to make sure you can get that on our website, on Eventbrite, or on Facebook. It's everywhere.
Oh, that's a good reminder. Yeah, we'll go into the plans and we'll talk about the design process a bit more, because people were asking questions about that, like, is that custom? How do you choose that? And we'll kind of dig into that as well, because it's something we're trying to. If anyone has worked with us, we do a long planning phase in order to nail down exactly what we're going to build instead of fixed price on the project. So when we get towards halfway through it, we're not all of a sudden saying, hey, this is going to cost 20 or 30% more. You're going to have to come up with the money. We don't do that. We figure it out up front. We fix the price, and we'll talk about how we do that next week. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here and checking out the house, and look forward to seeing everyone on the next house that we finish.